Guess what? We are back, and we are back to work on the bread van, and we got Owen and Hillbilly here, and Colton's coming back from lunch, and the boss is sitting outside coming back from lunch, but we're not gonna wait for them because we got a lot of stuff to do today. We've got to measure out, what'd you say, Sean?
Should I notch it quick?
Why don't you notch it and I'll weld it? I like that idea. Sean's a team player. So there's Sean also. We got a lot of stuff to do on the bread van. First things first, we have to measure out drive shafts because we have all 4 of our drive lines from Tom Wood's drive shafts. We have 2 right here. These are our spares that we had for when we went to Arizona. Tom Woods made us a spare of the front and a spare of the rear. And then we have the originals, and they're all gonna be wrong now because we changed the 241C transfer case to an Atlas 3.8 to 1. So now, we got our degree finder and our tape measure, and we're gonna remeasure the drive shafts. And then O-Dog is gonna take the shafts to Ogden at some point and drop them off for them to modify them to fit. So, got a lot of stuff to do. So let's get it done. I like that. Say it again.
Let's get it done.
Jinx Locks, you talk, you owe me a pop.
You didn't count to 10.
Oh, he talked.
You didn't count to 10, so don't
you know
count.
What? Hillbilly doesn't make the rules. I make the rules.
It's been the rules since as long as I've done that.
I don't think so. That doesn't sound like the right rules. Anyway.
Jinx, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, you owe me a Coke.
That can't be true. All right, so what I've got to do, I'm waiting for Sean up there at Tom Woods. He's going to call me, and we are going to get all of the angles. That is an 88.8, and this one is 72.9. All we got to do is measure from here. Now, I'm just showing you guys because I got to redo this as soon as he calls me.
And where the yoke or the U-joint goes are on there.
Flat. So that is 35 and 3/8. So those are the measurements that I got to give him to get the drive shafts rebuilt. And this, 67.2, 88.9. That is almost at 90 degrees. But that's because it's up on the lift, so it makes sense. We are 43 and 7/8. Wow. Now I don't even remember the measurements. Oh yeah. That's 37. I know the front was what, 33 or something?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's quite, well, whatever, quite a bit different. 43 and a quarter. Let's just see, just for funsies. Oh, that one's not terrible. 43 and 7/8.
But there's a problem with that.
Yeah, it's collapsed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fully extended.
There's a huge disconnect. One thing that Hillbilly did point out, that he is accurate, we are now ready for SEMA. Because we have Bluetooth drive shafts. So, anyway, call up Sean. We'll get those taken care of, but we need to get this fuel tank. You guys remember in the last video, I had to weld this gas tank because we had a little pinhole. So we need to get the fuel sending unit back in it. This is our vent that we're gonna use. So we need to figure out a vent line and how to put it on, and we gotta get it up in here. So I'm gonna have Hillbilly start working on this with Owen. They're gonna get the fuel tank back in here, and we have to get all this stuff reconnected in the wiring. We'll build a vent. Oh, you know what we could do? We could just do like a stainless steel. Our vent has to be higher than the filler. Oh, I've got an idea. Out there against the fence, there's some aluminum, like AC lines or something. We could do an aluminum line that follows this and goes higher than the filler neck for the vent. Anyway, gotta do a vent. That'll work. Yeah, it could hug right here.
Hold up, there's an easier way. You thread these into the gasket, and it holds the gasket right where it needs to be. And you're not fighting gasket as you're trying to fight bolts at the same time. Okay, so right now we're just getting the sending unit put into the tank. Because we have to do that before we actually put the tank into the bread van, because you can't get to it. Well, not only that, but we need that to deliver fuel to the power plant. Yeah. 2 different ways of saying the same thing.
All right, so we said we were gonna notch this out, so we're gonna notch it out. Just like that. And then we'll put a new piece in, and then we'll angle like that. Angle off this way and angle off that way. Perfect. And then your leg can lean over, and it won't dig into your leg, so. I'm gonna get it ready, and then Robbie's gonna come over and weld it.
Okay, got the sending unit installed. Now we're just tightening it down. Don't want to over tighten it because then you start blowing out gasket. Okay, got the sending unit all tightened up, buttoned in. So now we're installing the tank. We'll install the tank and then we will hook the lines up to the tank. You guys won't be able to see this process just because of location. I'm hooking up the fuel lines. I'm gonna plug in the sending unit, which is the fuel pump. And then once we get all that done, then we'll bring you back to tighten the tank up. I'm just getting the hose clamps on the filler hose tightened up, and then the next thing I'm going to work on is we're going to get a vent built. So we got a little fitting up on the top of the tank already. I think we're going to come off of it and do like a loop here, just for safety. Like if it ever rolls, having a loop, it won't leak out of the vent, and then we'll kind of fish it up to the top. Robbie was talking about getting some aluminum, so I think we're gonna go look for some aluminum hosing just out back in the scrap pile and then get working on that. Also gonna extend these a little bit just to make it easier to put the skid plate on. So got a few things to do. So we were looking at it, and this is where that plug goes. And we decided just to do it on this side because I can just quickly take this off and then go do it on a bench, and I don't have to do it up in a cramped area. So just pull this off and extend these wires instead. Okay, I got the fuel lines in place, tightened, the fuel line holder that goes on the tank, the setting unit plugged in. So now, tighten this up. And then I gotta get the washer nut, and I gotta put a wire holder and a ground onto that corner bolt.
All right, I've got the Atlas shifter cables in place. What I did is I pulled the bracket off. I put the cables up on because it's much easier than trying to fish everything up in here. What the goal is to try and get all of this ready to where we put the doghouse on and the shifters, get them adjusted. The nice thing is though, this is in a position to where we can adjust it from the top.
Okay, so me and Cole are gonna run out and find the aluminum hose for the breather tube. I think we're gonna have to use that one piece I found, and we'll just have to straighten it out as best we can, because I'm not seeing any other line anywhere else. So okay, I got two different sizes. I don't know what size Robbie's gonna need for sure, so I'll just take them both and see if one of these will work.
I think that one right there.
It almost has right bends.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So
thanks to the Tahoe again.
Yeah, I think we use this one. Let's whack it there and then cut it off
like right here, because that bent perfect over the frame, and then run it on the inside of the frame.
Yeah, but we have to, I gotta weld.
Oh, it's just a lot higher.
I'll weld the -6 right here, and then we can just put a normal hose to it. Cut it off there clean, cut it off there clean. I mean, we can zip tie it now that seam is over. All right, so one thing that we noticed when we were in Arizona is that my leg kept hitting right here. So we've gone ahead, Sean's notched it. I'm gonna weld it because I haven't welded in a while. And then this should be ready, this doghouse should be ready to go and install once we get the gas tank in and once we get the skid plate in. And then here's our Atlas twin stick. So we'll pull this out, I'll get it all adjusted. We'll be ready to do some unnecessary front digs. But like, look how good this piece is that Sean milled. So awesome. So where Sean's gonna grind all this, I'm gonna weld the outside, we'll stand it up on end, and then we're gonna weld the inside. That way, when he grinds this all off, and it looks like it's one piece, it'll have structural integrity on the inside. All right, we got the outside welded. Now I'm trying to get the inside. So I'm doing my hardest passes first, which is this top corner, this bottom one. Got one more difficult one to do, and then I got these two straight down passes. I just need to weld more. I thoroughly enjoy this a lot. I like it a lot.
Okay, so I just got all these wires crimped and extended. Now I'm just heat shrinking all the ends to keep it all weatherproof, and it also looks really nice. So, and there it is. So that should just make it a lot easier because we'll have that much more room to get this plug plugged in while we're putting the skid plate on. Before it was, you know, only that long. So like that.
While Robbie's building the breather for the fuel tank, I want to make a longer breather tube for the Atlas transfer case, because the breather tube we have is not long enough for where the fitting is. Take this out, put it on, and I can measure how long it needs to be. Okay, so I need to go about that much longer.
Where we didn't have a vent tube, we were trying to do it out of aluminum, but I couldn't get it to work. So I built it out of stainless steel. So this is gonna be the top side. I'm gonna go weld this -6 bung or whatever you want to call it, end onto this. We're gonna make a triple loop right here. That way if we roll over, the gas doesn't just spew out. So it's kind of like what we have in the Pacer. We have a triple loop. It'll come off the top, loop around, boom, right into this. And now that SEMA has passed, we can just put clamps or something or zip ties around this and it'll be okay because nobody is gonna judge us.
I'm about that much longer. Here's the old hose. Here's the new hose. We'll get this attached to the fitting. It sucks when you can't see what you're doing. And I finally got it. So now we go through here. So that way it stays away from any moving parts. No kinks. Now I have to go up top to where I can get this hose secured.
Any excuse to use the lathe, I'm gonna use it. Well, we got our new safety glasses from SAS. I'll get these put on. And then I've got my Ken Cut drill bit. What I wanna do is I've got this weld on stainless piece and I wanna drill it where I can stick the tubing inside of it and then weld it. We got that all trued up there in the, I bought me a chuck so we could do this with drill bit. It's a pretty dang good drill bit to do that with stainless. I don't want to go too crazy. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper so that it'll sit on it and then I can weld it. All right, we got this all done. I don't know if you guys have seen what Sean's doing, but check this out. Where's our screen, Sean? Over there. We got our Holley screen. Oh, there it is. I'm gonna show you. So we're building a dash. Now we're gonna utilize the Holley Pro dash. This is out of the Pacer. So look, we've got a bracket that we've made. It's on the back. This is what's gonna hold the bottom. That's gonna go on our steering column, okay? It's gonna be so freaking cool. But Sean didn't want to have to box this in and do all this, work, because it'd take too much of that, too much work to box this in. So instead, come over to the mill. I'm gonna bring my teachers, okay? So instead, Sean is gonna mill one out of billet, because this is less work, okay? So I'm glad that he's being lazy and milling us a dash holder. Wow, Sean, way to take the road less traveled.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's go see, so I've got my hose end on. Let's go see how many twists and turns until I have enough to hook onto there. Oh yeah, this will be perfect. So we won't even need to cut this off.
Just enough to
Just
clean
go
up the
put it
end.
in. Yep, perfect. I knew that was gonna be plenty. So the reason for this is if we roll over or we do something stupid, gas can spill out of it, but it has to go through the loop-de-loops before it can spill. And by then we'll be back on our wheels and we'll be out of harm's way. Right, Owen?
That's the plan. Yeah, right.
This is the microphone.
Why are you scared of the microphone?
Lean
I don't
into
know
it.
if it's hot or not.
Why would I hurt you?
I don't know.
You're like my infant child. Now we need a straight -6. There we are. And we a boot to have this gettle done. All right, I've got the vent tube in place. Now all I've got to do is I'm gonna zip tie the stainless steel to this pipe. So I've got it up here, coming out of the tank on the top. Twist, it does 2 loops. Look at the stainless. Boom, got it.
Okay, me and Owen are out here moving the storage or the container over, so that way we know exactly where we need to cut the gutter. Once we get it cut, then we'll move it all the way over as far as we need to. I think Robbie wants it almost touching the building. Then we'll rebuild the rain gutter to come down to the storage container, across the top, and out the side, so that way it's not getting ice built up underneath it. Just drilling out rivets to pull this 90 off. Pop. Boom. We don't need that no more. Now we do a bunch of measuring.
126.
Let's go all the way in here, buddy. Okay, come in. Easy, right there.
Oh, that's gonna make people cringe. What happens when you take too much and go too fast? She gets hot. I'll have to come in and do the side run. Clean up the sides, but that lets the chips out if you leave step.
Oh, really?
Then they can get out of there.
All right, so we've got the storage container all moved. We have this ready to go in. Sean is still milling on the dash. We've got Owen and Hillbilly gonna put the skid plate back up on the fuel tank. Once they get the skid plate on, we can lower it down and I can start working on the doghouse. But it looks to me like those shifter cables are like 2 feet too long.
Probably can route it away from the exhaust as far as possible.
We're gonna have to like route it to the back and then come forward.
Perfect.
Anyway, so they're gonna get this put on. Owen extended these wires like we talked about earlier. So that'll be a lot easier to put in.
I'll plug that in. We need your help. Plug that in. Okay, everyone, get all the bolts installed and tightened up. Okay, the underneath is done until we get drive shafts. So and then when we get drive shafts, we'll lift it back up, put the drive shafts in, then we'll put the skid plates back on, and it'll be completely done. But for now, it's done. We're gonna lower it down because we have to do the doghouse and the shifters for the transfer case.
So we think we might have ordered a little bit too long of control cables. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go get the doghouse that goes here. We'll bring it in here, we'll put it on, we'll check, and then we will measure how long of control cables we need. We're not final installing, we don't need to put this on right now. We're gonna put the top piece by itself. All right, let's go put this in and figure out how much shorter we need those cables.
I'll step up in, I'll hand it up to you.
The other side.
Ideal and straight as they can be is the best.
Yeah, it isn't. It'd have to be like this.
You want a piece of tape and you
That's what
put it up
that's
to
what I'm
the
gonna do, and
bracket.
then I can measure it. All right, so what we're trying to do is I'm gonna put a piece of tape on the cables. We'll pull it back off, and then I'll get a measurement of exactly how long we need it. There's really no way. We thought we needed the longer cable. Apparently, we don't. We're going to tape it, measure it, order the correct ones, but that pretty much puts this at a standstill until we have that. There's really nothing else we can do, is there?
Not that I can think of.
We need drive lines and we need control cables. This is a notch for my leg. That'll be very nice. I actually like that. Without further ado, let's get this figured out. Kind of rough, but that's okay. Basically, right there. One nice thing about this is I can get to the control cables right here fully. That looks so good though. I love Sean did that. It's gonna bolt in nice. It's gonna look proper. Maybe what we'll do is we will just go notch that other side so it looks, I really like that notch. And it kind of gives it a little bit of different look. So maybe let's take this out, go over there, I'll work with Sean and we'll get that other side notched. We'll get this off, get the cables out, notch them, blah, blah, blah. Everything's gonna work. All right, so we are going to notch this side so that it matches. And I think it just looks awesome. So Sean did something cool, made it look awesome, and now we have to do it over here. So we're gonna cut this out and we'll bend a piece, we'll put it in and I will weld it. Yeah, I like put my hand on it like it matters. Like I need to just, whoop. You did it wrong. Sean! That looks pretty awesome. Do we need to grind it or are we just leaving it, or what would you use in these little spots? I got the splat.
What did you say?
How? I'm incapable of doing anything.
Like that? This one's got that.
Oh, I see. You're an edge grinder.
For that,
Yeah. Oh. I was taught by Sean not to be an edge grinder. Yeah. All right, we are golden. I don't know what Sean's doing, but he's getting something in order to do this. Do you want me to bolt this top back on?
probably should.
Sean's
To be safe.
smart. We're gonna bolt this top back on just to be safe, because we don't need no warpage. Sean is gonna show us how to bend. I like how you
Yeah, I know. It was like
slow tap,
a little. Don't. I've had it where it just takes off on me, and then you're like,
and then you overbend it.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna get this all bent, trimmed, in place, and then we get to weld it.
Sure.
So the nice thing about custom is if it's a little bit off, you know what? It's not the end of the world. It was meant to be a little bit off. This is our CNC bender.
Yeah.
I love how
after
it's just like-
seeing it, I like
It's just
it.
like all coming together.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like.
Doesn't
quite
look
as
like a
much-
bread van.
Doesn't look quite much like a box.
Well, no, it looks like we put a bread van box inside a bread van.
Right. Yeah.
Instead, we didn't. Okay, it's notched and it's flowy and it's cutesy.
Hey, Robbie Rabbit,
Yeah.
come back this.
Yes. Oh, that sucker broke.
Yeah.
We hit it. I messed up. Right, the big humongous gap is filled and I didn't even ruin Sean's work. That is welded. I just need to flip it, weld the inside. Sean needs to grind it when it cools, but you know what? We already showed you guys all that, so we're not gonna bore you with it. And we're pretty much at a standstill, so bread van needs some parts to finish up some more stuff. All right, so we've gotten to a standstill on the bread van, but pretty soon we're gonna be doing unnecessary front digs. We're gonna be able to wheel this thing properly with a twin stick Atlas. Anyway, that's as far as we can get, so as always, we appreciate you. If you enjoyed this video, go check out this one.
What?
What?